An old friend and a friend of the show. He's not old, I'm old. Bomani Jones is with us here.
Brother, I'm pretty old, too. I had a moment yesterday where I met a young woman. She's a up-and-coming reporter, and she went to my alma mater.
Huh.
And she asked me when I graduated, and I said 2001, and I did a quick hit of math that indicated I don't think she was born.
Oh.
And then she's like, so people know this is kind of a fun joke. Stugotz went to Clark University.
Yes, I did.
I went to Clark Atlanta University, which is like the difference between Somalia and Samoa. They sound very similar, but they're actually vastly different.
Yes.
Well, it used to be Clark College, and then it was Clark College and Atlanta University, and they merged. And she asked me if I went to school before they merged. They merged in 1988.
So no.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to figure out, how old do you think I am?
Yesterday, I went to the casino, and it says like the date. It's like you had to be born by XX date 2004.
I saw that. I had that same moment yesterday.
2004.
I had that same moment yesterday. Or how about this? I did an event in North Carolina last weekend, and it was I did with Tyler Hansbrough and Marcus Ginyard, who played for the 2009 national championship team. They came into school in 2005, which would be 20 years ago.
Right.
And all of that. Like this, I have to stop doing math on years.
Right.
I gotta take people as they are and hope they do the same. That's all. That's what I need.
Psycho T, huh?
Psycho T, man. Psycho T was pretty cool.
What an odd event for you to be. Well, it's not really.
No,
for
it
anyone
made
who knows
perfect
you,
sense.
right?
Yeah, I mean, it's back where I used to work. It was the event and everything.
Yes.
It made perfect sense. But yeah, at the same time, it's like, these are not only these guys grown-ups, they damn near 40 years old.
Well, Monty, you look good, though, man.
I appreciate that.
I mean, you don't look a day over 28.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
He's
That's
lying,
what.
I totally
I'll
lying.
still take it.
Yeah, he doesn't
I'll
matter.
still take it.
You'll take him wherever you can get him from, even if I'm lying to
Hell
you.
yeah.
Yes.
Look, I don't mind people like leaning in on the fact of being a little bit older. What I want, though, that doesn't happen anymore for older people is I want my goddamn respect.
Yeah.
Right? That's all about. They just out here calling us unk and everything else. Not once have they gotten up and given me a seat on the subway. Right? Whatever happened to sir? When's the last time somebody said sir?
If someone stood up and said, "Take my seat on the subway," you'd be incredibly insulted.
You would.
No. I'm far too bottom line oriented.
Here,
for that.
sir, take my
Yes,
seat.
sir. Please let me help you, sir.
Yeah, feel free. Because if they give it up their seat, there ain't no seats.
Right.
And I would like a seat.
Okay.
I'm taking the seat.
Have you gotten emails yet for Social Security?
Hasn't happened.
Oh, it's the worst.
Hasn't happened.
I delete them as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, but
how about AARP?
But the difference is you're old.
Yes, I am actually
Like you're
old.
there. You're more in the
I don't
zone.
look a day under 60.
You shaved today, Stugotz.
I did shave,
Yeah.
yes. Do I
Why?
look
This is the last day. You
well,
should have looked good the whole
I'm going
week.
to see my family after this. So.
Yeah, but like I'm looking at you though, and I'm like, did you shave at like 4 in the morning?
I did.
They came right back.
I shaved at like midnight last night.
You're on the Homer Simpson, where like you do the shave, and the next thing you know, it's just boop, right back.
Billy, do I look younger?
No.
Really?
No, you look more like you tried today.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because today's
the
the
day
last
we're
day you're
leaving.
headed out. Exactly right.
That's what I like to do, Billy. It's the last impression that matters.
That's what I was about to say. That's some super con man shit right there. Just close with a flourish, right?
That's my move in Ubers every time.
Right.
So, like the last 3 minutes of the trip, I'm like, now's the time to start a
You act
conversation.
interested? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You just made me realize that maybe I've become a bit more of a bourgeois character than I wish to admit, because I definitely hit that "don't talk to me" button in the Uber. I have become New York.
Oh.
I was in North Carolina, and people were talking to me in the hotel on the street, and I was like, why are these people? That's right.
Yeah.
In most places, civilized people speak to each other. They're nice about it.
Yes.
Yes.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. You're enjoying that, man. You started. How long ago did you start that podcast?
I started the podcast 7 years ago. As a radio show, it started 10 years ago.
Right.
We started that right when you guys went to the midday shift. Mm-hmm. So it's just wild to think that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Again, I got to stop using numbers. It's not helping my self-esteem. But no, the pod, it's cool. It's still rolling. I got to find me something else to do. But in the meantime,
what do you want to do?
Something else. The thing I tell people is that I got to do Game Theory on HBO for 2 seasons, and it was literally the dream job. It was like, what happens when your culmination of life's work comes and you're 42? Like I got to find something else
Right.
that like feels like something. Kind of charges. That was the first time I recall that I did something that I wasn't sure. Oh, I got this. Right now, granted, some of the things I was like,
That
I
is
got
odd
this.
for
I
you,
didn't
man.
have.
Yes.
But it was like, you know what? I need to try something. I'm going to do something that has the potential to go catastrophically bad.
Right.
Like nobody else had made the format work. I appreciated the challenge of getting to do that, and now I got to find something else that's kind of challenging.
Yeah, so what do you do after you've reached your dreams?
That's a great question.
It's like an NFL player,
Right.
you know? Like, what do you do after you reach your dreams at the age of 30?
Well, you'll hate this comparison, but I don't know how much you saw of any of that Aaron Rodgers thing. But
I
like
have
that,
not seen it.
That was like
It's
the
really
whole,
good.
Well, I didn't finish it. Like no one.
Well, I did, though.
Everyone I've spoken to is like, I got through 2, and then like 3, I was like, I got it. I got the point. But like the first like episode and a half was basically that. It was basically like he worked hard. He thought he wanted to do this the whole time. Then he wins the Super Bowl, and he's like,
Now what?
I don't feel anything. You know what I mean? Like I thought this would be the greatest feeling in the world. Now I don't feel anything. Now what do I do?
No, that happens to a lot of people, and it has happened to somebody I know very well. And what happens when the thing you thought would feel like that doesn't feel like that?
Right.
Like the thing I do have to say for me on the game theory situation is it did feel like that. Like I had when we were in North Carolina.
Can you describe that feeling, though? It just felt what? It felt like it just felt big? It felt...
It felt like an accomplishment of sorts.
Okay.
Like I remember the first episode we shot without a studio audience.
Okay.
So the only people there are like my people who work on the show. My brother came, my agent came, like a couple of those people. And they do it big. Like one thing about working at ESPN that I realize is ESPN really treats being on television like a job. Like you clock in, you clock out.
Right.
There isn't that much of a feeling of like grandeur around what you do typically.
Yes.
And so your first show,
kind of lonely. You're right.
Yeah,
Yes,
like your first show on like a TV show. For lack of a better term. And like the last episode of the season, they do the same thing. So you come out, and it's a cake, and it's champagne, and everybody's toasting it up. And I remember I stood there with my agent, and so this is 2022. So we've been working together now.
Years again, Bo.
Yeah, but this is important
I know,
here.
I got it.
We've been doing this for 11 or 12 years. And we just stood there.
Right.
And we were just next to each other. I just remember I just had my hand on his shoulder, and we were just looking at it like... It happened, like remembering what it was like to sit in the HBO offices 10 years before that. And the guy's like, hey, man, I'm looking for a Sports Bill Maher. And I'm like, baby, I'm right here. I know you're not going to believe it because I'm the one that's telling you. And it actually happened,
Right.
And then it was fun. And then it was, okay, well, now we're going to find a different thing to do. And now we find within it, like they had me working with a coach to help with my presentation and all of this stuff. So, we just had all these things go. And so I felt like I got it done. And when it ended, I didn't feel bad at all. It was like, what are you talking about? Why would I look at this through the standpoint of an ending as opposed to what it really was I got 2 years of this. I don't own this. Nobody took anything from me.
2 years of your dream.
Yeah,
yes.
every year was an opportunity.
Right.
And so for me, it was great. But then it becomes like, all right, man, I gotta get something that comes close to that again. Right. Like I got cool with Ta-Nehisi Coates over the years. And what I admire about him is he's done comic books. He's done novels. He has done things by his own admission that could have gone wrong, but he needs that.
Right.
He needs that feeling that this might not go, because otherwise you're not pushing yourself to the place that you want to be.
If you were given more time, do you think you would have made that show work in the way that you really wanted it to work?
Yeah, well,
or did you arrive there already?
I think we could have gotten better. I
Right.
think that we were largely in the places that we wanted to be, but I would have gotten better.
Right.
Like, I am not a comedian. Like when I first had the meetings with the people about it and I looked at their deck, the way I sold them on the show was I was like, look, man, this deck is for a comedian. I am not a comedian,
right.
but I am the person for this show. And so it was a matter of learning how to bridge the gap. And so I'm working with all these stand-ups who write for the show, and I got a coach that comes in and helps me. And I was improving at what we were doing because, like, we did 16 episodes of Game Theory. That means I had the opportunity to do that literally 17 times. A test shoot, and then you can't do an episode without turning the clock on. So the only episodes are the ones you see. So that means there's no practice.
Right.
So we were getting better. We just did TV the year that they literally stopped making television.
Right.
Writer strike, merger of the company, everything else.
Yeah.
They just stopped making television. But no, man, it was great. Like, I don't mean to stay on memory lane on that. But for me, it was a great time.
I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to think, because I know you pretty well, and it doesn't need to be sports. Like, what is that thing that's going to replace that feeling that you had while doing that show? It doesn't have to be inside of sports.
Yeah.
But.
Well, like, I need to write a book.
Yeah.
Like, I got an idea
like me.
for a book.
Yeah.
Do you realize, I'm not going to lie to you, that was a moment that I said to myself, dude, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, but the gods beat you to the book, right? I don't know how Dan comes to work every day with that knowledge, right? Oh, I'm one of the best sports writers of my generation.
Right.
And here's the author.
Thank you.
That's when you need to start specifying this. Author, John Wiener.
Thank you. Best-selling author. Thank you.
That's right.
Publisher.
Yes, publisher.
Ed McCaffrey quickly corrected him. He's like, did you actually write it? He's like, well, no. And he's like, so you published the book.
I admire you for telling him the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Because you definitely did not just tell it to me.
No, I did not.
It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm not mad. It's like that Emmy I got. I didn't win it. I got it.
You probably wrote more for Stugotz's book than he did.
Did you?
They sent me.
One of the things I love, I remember, just if we're going to take a stroll down memory lane, okay?
Yes.
One of the things I loved is when we were at ESPN, and somehow because you would do a weekly show with us.
Yes.
And on the day that you were coming in, Dan announced that he wasn't coming in.
Yes.
And I remember how nervous everyone was that me and you were going to do a show together.
Yes.
And it turned out, I think for both of us, it turned out to be as fun as anything we did at ESPN.
Well, first of all, I have to say that both of us should be deathly offended by the idea that they were afraid.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember who exactly was afraid, right?
Well, it started with Dan, I think.
Yeah, but even then, I'm looking at that like, buddy, I don't know how to break this to you, but I do this, right? Like, number one, I do this. Number two, you've been doing this for quite a long time.
Yes.
Now, number three, I think the part that they were probably most afraid of, which did come to fruition to a certain degree, was like, are these guys going to be talking about weed? And the answer was, if it comes up.
Yeah, and it came up.
It did. It did indeed.
Often.
It did. Hey, man, that was I do remember doing that show. That was a good one. See, the thing that people don't realize is that early on, I don't know if you guys, I guess you probably talked about this in a roundabout, but not specifically. But early on when it came to ESPN, Skipper had the bright idea that he was going to switch me in for you to do that radio show. And all three of us were like, no, that is not a good idea at all. We're not, But at the same time, I was kind of like, I bet I would have got a raise.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, I would have got a raise, but somebody would have died.
Yeah.
I don't know which person would have died.
Wait, so you're taking me out of the equation, it's just you and Dan,
Me and Dan going from doing a TV show to doing a radio show.
Totally different thing.
Somebody would have died, but it just been all day.
Right.
It'd have been all day of me being cold. You know?
Yeah.
Like, y'all still keep the office deathly cold?
It's not as bad, but the Clevelander was freezing.
Yeah, just checking. I remember the first day.
It's a bit warmer at the
Well,
LC.
the air's always broken.
Yeah.
But I had
the alarm goes off.
I had a day I came into the Clevelander, like when we first got there, and I was like, cool, I'll wear shorts to work. And I was in pain by the end of the radio show that I was doing. My legs hurt. Like, I felt like the hair on my legs was going to fracture and break.
What I loved about you as a guest co-host, we talked about this on the Oral History, is you didn't give a bleep what we wanted to talk about. We were talking about what you wanted to talk about. And quite frankly, after one episode, I realized we better be talking about what Bomani wants to talk about because it's more interesting.
Well, the problem I had is I had this great misunderstanding about the dynamic of this show where I thought it was a show where everybody made jokes about everybody, only to realize it was actually a show where Dan made jokes about everybody and everybody made jokes about you. Yeah. And then I come in here trying to play along, and people over there getting their feelings hurt. Yeah. And it was just like, hey, you guys want to, talk about some other stuff? But no, you are correct. I come to shoot.
Are you saying we're a sensitive group? Because I'm not, for sure.
You are not. Right. I am saying that
I just stuff it away somewhere inside.
You honestly can. It's a little worrisome, to be honest.
It's healthy, Stugotz.
No,
it's bottling it up.
It's not healthy.
Yeah,
at
I'm
all.
just saying. I showed up and I realized some things landed with different people in ways that I did not feel I was getting the benefit of the doubt for having a little levity with the situation. Maybe my hands are heavy. You know what I mean? But that was a time.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it that time?
I did. It was the fit Like I always said, I took up a little bit too much space. Like I'm not for people who enjoy the notion of chaos, my time there made sense. But I was fully aware of the fact that the fit wasn't exactly the most perfect. And God bless Dan, because he was trying to work in my stuff with y'all stuff, like having my guy Mike come in and stuff like that. And it was just, hey, we just...
And I tried to back off a lot when you came in.
No, you did.
Yes, because I wanted to give you that space.
Yeah, we were just dancing to a different beat. The irony of it all is my chemistry with you in a radio sense is much better than my chemistry with Dan in a radio space. But that ain't how that dynamic y'all got works.
Right.
Y'all got a with show. So we couldn't, we couldn't just slide it in there. That was, I think, the part that people realized when we did that show together. It's like, oh, no, we actually have a little bit more of similar wavelength.
Yes. Well, I think it's, like two alphas, you and Dan, right?
Yeah. No, I come to shoot.
Yes.
I readily acknowledge.
You're taking your shots.
Yeah,
yes.
But if you tell me it's my team, I will distribute. If you tell me, it's kind of like Kyrie Irving type basketball. Like if you tell Kyrie he's in charge, he'll give people the ball.
Yes.
If somebody else is in charge, it's like, hey man, just let me know when you're ready for me to shoot.
Right. You're like a hired gun.
I put this thing up. Like, why'd you bring me here to set picks?
I always looked at it like, hey, Bomani's here. I don't have to do as much today. This is great.
Yes. I mean, to be honest, that's what Dan realized about the television show when I got there. He was like, oh, wait a minute. There's somebody that doesn't mind doing this, doing responsible things? Sure. I'll go first on this topic if you think it's best. All right.
I love you, Bo.
I love you too, man.
Yeah, there we go.
This is it.
You love New Orleans.
I love New Orleans.
Is this your favorite Super Bowl city?
I don't have that much
I've seen
Super
you out
Bowl
and about.
experience.
You're walking down. You're in French Quarter. Billy ran into you last night.
Yeah. No,
I felt so bad about that. They came like across town. I'm like, I need to go in 5 minutes.
No. We were just walking anyway.
Okay.
No, my thing I always say about New Orleans is there's two ways to look at New Orleans. It would be awful if it wasn't so awesome, or it would be awesome if it wasn't so awful. And I lean in on the awesome part.
Yeah.
I lean in, and of course, I want every black woman that lives here to talk to me as long as she wants. Drag out those vowels and those syllables. No. Read the terms and conditions to me. I can't get enough of it. Good gracious.
What have you been getting into, Bomani?
Man, do a little Super Bowl partying here and there. Show up at a couple of spots.
Yeah. Unannounced, of course, right? No invitation. No.
I had an invitation to a couple. My agent got me on a couple of lists. I showed up at a spot the other night that I wasn't invited to, and I ran into somebody else that I don't think was invited. And boy, that was awkward. I think I told you about that last night. Yeah, it was awkward. Yeah. And I think you guys probably feel a measure of this too. Like when you do radio or something like that like grounds you in a studio, you don't get that much time to actually be amongst your peers, and you don't have the greatest grasp. Not even on like who rocks with you, but like who even knows who you are.
Correct.
And so it's kind of affirming for me to have these moments where I'm walking past and see somebody who I feel is important, or that I feel good about in that way.
Right.
And they see, and I had even met them, and they walk up to me with a familiarity that speaks to like a measure of respect. And you need to, I'm at a place in my life where I can be more honest about the need and not so much need, but at least the appreciation for that kind of affirmation.
Yeah, but it means we're getting old, because I get a lot of that when I'm here as well, and it feels good, especially from the younger, point. It's no longer Radio Row, by the way; it's Digital Row.
Yes, that is a great point.
Yes, yeah, it's sad. Yes,
yeah, because I don't do radio anymore because it's hard. But we're radio-ish.
Not even just radio, but like you were talking about your TV journey.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that watch on TV that like around the horn you're sitting in a closet.
Yeah.
You're not in like a nice TV studio. You're by yourself.
There were many times I was sitting right next to the HQ desk.
Well,
remember?
No, like at the Clevelander, it was like a pull-down screen.
Yes.
Like you're at school and they used to pull down the map. Like that's what the background was for Around the Horn.
So when I did it from Raleigh, because one of the things that was interesting was they booked it for me like I was going to be doing it for one day when I was there, and then I stuck around for like 2.5 years. And so it started that I was in this room, and it was a real big deal for the folks in Raleigh because there was a picture behind me of the city. And so their city was getting put on. Like, you look at the cities that were around the horn, they were all very large. They were getting put on. But it was a picture that had the jail in it. And so then people kind of requested that maybe they could put a different picture back there. And then as things got better and they got like a dedicated fiber optic line or whatever, then they moved me into a bit of a closet. But it was my closet. So I would just keep like 3 sport coats and 3 shirts and just rotate them around and do that. And then when I got to Miami, it was closet game. And the Clevelander, it was the other side of the room.
Right.
Right. It wasn't even so much the closet, it was the other side of the room. But you are right. Like, there is nothing charming about doing it.
Well, even in D.C., where, like, Reality was doing the show, like, if you're doing the show from D.C., it was actually in the tape closet. Like, you had to go around the camera to go get, like, tape reels and stuff like that if you wanted to use archived footage.
No. So
you're in the way.
So try this. So before they
He's so right.
But before they moved into the Seaport, it was at the Times Square studio. And that was literally... that felt more like closet than anything. And Reality was in a closet. So where Reality used to do the paper toss, he would throw a paper airplane from here to the edge of that table because the room they had him in was that small.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they got to the Seaport and everything kind of opened up a little bit.
It did open up a bit. The thing that was so interesting about the Seaport, and I don't remember if anybody's really talked about this, but it was like an office controversy because they didn't build a lot of offices. Clearly, whoever they consulted to build the place, they missed out on some details. So everybody's just in like this open,
walls?
Yeah, like the open seating, right?
Yeah,
like
that's like when they were built to when it was like, open concept work is great.
Right.
No, Billy, I was doing our show from there, and like I was speaking out, and like they were bothered by me because I'm screaming.
Because they can hear you through there. But the thing about the open table setup is that works for a lot of offices. It's a little weird for a bunch of people on television.
Yeah.
And then it's only a couple of offices. So now one person gets an office, and now another person is jealous of the office.
Right.
And now an executive is giving up his office because you need to keep the ego straight. Nobody gave a good goddamn if I had an office, just to be clear.
Right.
I was sitting there with my troops. I don't know how much they liked it. They might have wished I had an office.
Yeah.
But there was like no office setup. So it was like a lot of what went on there, that radio studio you talk about.
Yes.
But I used to do mine from the podcast room. They call it the huddle room.
Right.
And it was just a little closet with a desk. And if I had a guest, somebody would be sitting right there. And then when Stephen A. would be doing his radio show in there, especially when somebody did something that made him mad and he get charged up, everybody was hearing that radio show.
He had an office.
Tuned in or not. Yes. It was not
I
the
remember
original
Office
plan.
Row. I think it was Greeny, Stephen A.
I will never forget this. I guess it's fair to tell this story at this point. It's been long enough.
All right.
First Take moved in the office after we had moved in because they didn't start doing that show until like September of 18 from the office, and we started in June. And I called myself trying to put Stephen A. on game. And I'm like, hey, man, you need to, make sure you get you a good desk, because this stuff is going fast. He's like, me, oh, no, I got an office. And to me, that was a moment that simply said, we are not the same. I had no problem with my place in that hierarchy, but I understood we are not the same.
Try to be a good friend. Hey, you know what? If you want, come eat lunch with us.
Like you're so ridiculous. I sounded right. Like
Yes.
that's the hey man. I got this 10% off coupon.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Go down to Subway. They give you 10% off. And Stephen A. is like, yeah, Subway, yo. Subway, the Subway, all things that Stephen A. has no concept of in the year of our Lord 2018, let alone now.
Oh, man. Bomani, what do you make of the entire sports media shift? Because you love radio the way I love radio. You grew up listening to radio, doing talk radio, and now you see what this has become, and it ain't radio anymore. And so what do you make of all that?
Look, man, I was here yesterday, and Overtime has a setup right over there.
Yeah.
Over the bounty paper towel.
I have people just sticking phones in my face, and they're asking me to say stuff, and I don't know where it's going and who I'm talking to.
Yes. I had somebody do a fit check with me, and it's my boy, so I did it. But I'm like, do you see my clothes? Do I look like I'm being fashionable? But Overtime got a setup over there, and I walk over there. And Travis Hunter is over there hosting his show.
Yes. So cool.
Cam Newton as a guest and somebody else. On one hand, so cool. On the other hand, it's a little bananas. He hasn't even played a game.
Right.
Yes. And God bless him. I'm not mad at him at all. But that's kind of a wild idea and concept. And I want to ask all of them, like I asked Cameron on Game Theory. He was the last guest that we had. And I was like, it's wild, man. When I was in college, we was all trying to get like you. When did you decide you wanted to get like me? And that's what we need to actually start telling all these ball players. Get like me.
Right.
That's what they all trying. They trying to get like me.
Yeah.
They all trying to get like. Let me just tell them all. You the one trying to get like me now. What you think? And you think you better. This shit hard, ain't it?
You should have just walked over and taken Travis Hunter's seat.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
get up.
Yes.
Right.
Hey, let me show you what a pro is.
Exactly.
Excuse
right.
me, young man.
Exactly.
Come up off that seat.
Yep.
Yes. I am. Call me sir.
Yeah, you're doing a great job of sounding younger.
Exactly
I
right.
ain't trying to sound younger. See, that's the thing that I got a problem with people of our age and ilk.
Yeah.
Is I put in the work to get here.
Correct.
Right? Like Black Thought got a line. A grown-ass man, I done paid my dues. Learn the rules, little homie. You can be one, too.
Right.
I got here. I'm ready. When does this start paying off? Because I can't do young as well as they do young. I'm not going to get nothing out of that, right?
He doesn't have a problem with being old, Stugotz. He
Yeah.
just wants all the benefits of being old.
That's what I'm saying.
Of course,
What
yes.
happened? Like, I'm supposed to get a measure of respect and of truly function in society.
Right.
That's just your excuse to act like that. You're not. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe this, but you're not putting anything in when you call me young. You were just calling me old with no respect behind it. I ain't with that.
I want to be clear, though, because Travis Hunter has no broadcast experience. Are you saying he should be ashamed of himself?
Absolutely not.
Took an easy path?
No,
or,
he-
they have it easier now.
Get in where you fit in.
Okay.
I have no problem
Okay.
with him. That's the thing. I have no reason to hate on these dudes. And most of the athletes that I come across who go into this space care about being good, want to be good,
Yes.
and especially football players. Football players are very coachable,
Yeah.
right? And they
Yes.
ask for help and all of this stuff. And I have all the respect in the world for anybody that is truly like working. Like I did Gerald McCoy show right over there for Yahoo the other day, and I was so impressed that he's doing a 3-camera shoot, and he's like,
Well, you can tell, right?
I'm going
Yes.
to 2, I'm going
Right.
to 1, I'm going here.
Right.
And so, yeah, go ahead and put in that grind. What I'm saying is they getting in this, and it's going like everybody that's ever hosted a radio show where you threw your whole first segment, 2 minutes later, your outline is gone. Everybody's ever taught a class, everybody's ever hosted this, I think a lot of them are getting to learn that the job that we do
Yep.
is way harder than they thought it was. And I do think what it will result in is a certain increased level of respect
Right.
for the work that we have done and dedicated our lives to.
I love that you're looking for that respect as you get older, Bomani.
What else do I get
No,
out
it's
of it?
important to me as well. It really is.
Like my back hurts. You know what I'm saying? My knees ain't so great.
Oh, my knees
all
are
of this-
terrible.
Yeah, and all
Yeah.
of this stuff. The least I could do is get somebody to treat me nice.
I know. Getting up has never been harder. It has never been more difficult. There's Dianna Russini, Poop City.
Wow. Dianna dressed like she on Bobby Jones gospel. That's a Sunday morning BET fit right there. Look at them shoes, they sparkling.
Oh, God. I've been thinking for like 20 minutes. Should I ask him about the game? There's no point in asking Bomani about the game.
Hey man, here's I tell you about the game. It's the second time in 3 years it's the same people, but the black man can't lose. We got to decide who to root for. We can't just all pick the same person.
Right. Okay. Here comes Dianna Russini.
Hey there.
I think we got one right here. Did you hear what Bomani said?
Does it look like a gospel scene?
Nah, yeah, it's like BET Sunday morning gospel. Your shoes, and
You like all of that?
I can't tell which feline pattern that is.
Is it peacock or leopard? I couldn't figure
I feel like it's got more gur in it than peacock. Like,
Is
You
it
look
too,
great.
Is this too much? I mean, did
No,
you,
no,
did you
no.
shower? Scott?
no, you good.
Did I shower?
Yeah.
I showered and I shaved. How about
Oh,
that?
hey,
Yes.
hey.
Wow, I'm a little afraid that I didn't notice what would tip me off that he didn't shower. Like, is he reeking?
I
No,
mean, I had,
he actually smells great.
I had
Okay.
3 heaters walking in. I mean,
You gotta cut
what were you
that
going to
out,
say?
by the
Go
way.
ahead. I know I did.
No, I was just trying to bring. It's the last day
I know.
of Radio Row, so
Yes.
I'm a little sad. This was one of my favorite weeks down here. This was great.
It was buzzing yesterday. It really was. I mean, it dies down every Friday at Super Bowl, during Super Bowl week. But yesterday was a fantastic
cracking.
day down here.
It was
yes.
cracking
Yep.
yesterday.
There were people everywhere.
Who'd you get on?
Everyone.
Really?
Yeah, I had a good day yesterday.
Well, who's everyone? Joe Burrow, did you get?
Yeah.
Oh,
of course
really?
I got Joe
Yeah.
Burrow. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow didn't come to Scoop City. I wish he did. He walked right by that thing. I was like, Joe. He just kept walking.
Did
That's a
Miles
big poop
Garrett come
city.
to complain about his bosses with you?
He did not, and he blew me off on the red carpet last night. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
0 for 2 at Miles.
Wow.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What
What'd you
that?
do to Miles?
Go, I don't know.
Put out a hit piece. Just make some stuff up about him.
Yeah, right?
He's from Dallas. They're like that.
Now, he's cool. I just think he was worn out by all the...
Oh, he thought that he could make a trade request and then just have a
Why would
leisurely
he
day.
do that? Like the day before he was coming to do media, and then
That's
expect
exactly
no
why you
one
know.
to ask
It
him
was
why he
stuff.
did it, though.
brilliant.
Yes, yes.
I would not have cared really to talk to him as much as I was trying to talk to him if that didn't happen. He gave me a reason to go run after him. I know his handler's like, well, give me a heads up on the topics. I go, you
What do you
really
think?
think?
What do you think?
I'm going to ask about his shoes? Like, what?
I think what that whole thing teaches us is nobody wishes he was 6'8" more than Myles Garrett so he could actually be a basketball player.
Right.
Like, he's really good at basketball. His brother played in the NBA, and that was such an NBA move that he made. And I'm like, hey, we all have dreams, buddy. Right? Like, you wanna be traded? We all have dreams.
Well, Max Crosby was down on the floor yesterday, too, and I was wondering if he's thinking about the Myles Garrett move. Maybe that's something he would do.
Sure
I don't
he
think
is.
he is,
Right.
but
I'm certain that why would you want to stay there where he is?
No state income tax.
Yeah, I mean, that's one reason.
I
But
agree.
Bomani, that team is so far away from winning
I agree.
anything. Why would he want to waste his career there?
he's such a beast. I was talking to him about what he was doing later in the night, which parties he was going to. He's like, well, I've got honors. I'm not going to do any post parties because I got to get up at 5 a.m. And I'm like, oh, early flight? He's like, no, I got to work out. I'm like, you work out during Super Bowl week? He's like, I work out every day. I bring my meals too. He brings his meals here because he wants to stay,
In shape,
in
right.
shape, and
Right.
just the way you do. You pack
Yes.
your little lunch.
Exactly right. Yeah. You know me.
Avoid all the fat.
No one knows me better than you. Yeah.
Right on top of that, Rose.
Bomani's feeling a little bit old today, okay?
Why?
I don't know why.
Put your shoulders back. Feel this. Come on, embrace it. I'm old as hell.
Yeah, but I'm older than you.
I'm old as hell.
I'm old as, my birthday's on Tuesday.
Yeah, but I'm still.
Who cares?
Like, Stugotz the oldest person here.
By far, yes.
I'm number 2
Right.
in this case. I don't feel old, but my back feels old.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
feel
And your
old.
knees. And your knees.
Yes.
Try
Yes.
wearing heels around this city.
Couldn't do it.
I've been stuck in potholes.
Oh, yeah,
There's
about
little
to say,
cracks. Just-
yeah.
I look like a deer on ice walking around.
Yeah, this city ain't maintained well
Yeah, it
enough for you to
wasn't
be
smart.
stunting on them.
I got to tell you, she's everywhere because randomly I just got a picture of me smoking a heater like, on her street corner, and she texted it to me. I'm like, where are you?
Yeah, I'm like, just running. I look up and there he is. I'm like, oh my goodness, of all people, just
Yes.
out there.
No, me and Diana was hanging out at the Kelsey party the other night.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are you?
Met Flavor Flav.
It was great to see you.
Likewise.
Sometimes these parties can be stuffy with executives, and it has this like vibe of media people trying to be great and get another job, and it
Yes.
had that feel there.
Right.
So when I saw Bomani, it was like, oh, fun.
Right.
Just talk to
You
someone.
needed him, yes.
Let's just hang out.
Is there a
Yes.
normal person
Dog,
here?
You need
Yes.
to be, you always need to be with me in the schmooze fest because I have this thing where I don't know what job anybody does. I stay saying wild shit in front of very powerful people. Like at ESPN, I never knew who did what job.
Yeah.
I know names. You might be important. They say you work over here. I look down at titles. I'm like, you're a vice president or what? Like, I don't know what job anybody
Yeah.
does. So, yeah, you get me in those parties, especially now. I ain't got shit to lose.
I know.
I'm saying anything.
I will say I was reflecting on some of the conversations I've been having, and man, I've lost my touch at schmoozing.
Really?
After about 2 questions
I don't think
in,
you've lost your touch. I think you're just tired of it.
I am tired of
Yes,
it,
right.
but I black out. Like, I don't know
Right.
where I go. I don't know how to take it to that next level where it's a good conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a good job of avoiding the when'd you get in conversation and
Right.
then, who do you got on Sunday? But then I don't really know where to go.
Right.
Billy, are you any good at schmoozing? Because I know
No.
Stugotz
Billy.
is fairly excellent.
I'm
I'm
not
the
a
greatest
good
of all
small
time.
talker.
Bomani.
No.
Yeah. No,
So-
I'm
not good at
someone
it.
last night just came up to me and was like, hey, it's good to see you. How's your marriage? I'm like,
Oh.
I'm like, at this moment, not great. Yesterday, it was spectacular.
How well does this
I
person
would-
know you?
Not that well.
I would make the point.
But like,
that-
but I kept thinking, like, what was
So
the right
great.
answer? What did he want to
Well, also,
hear?
yeah, like, what's the goal there? Like,
Correct,
what is he hoping to
what was
hear?
the
And what's the
motivation?
next
No,
question
this-
after that?
This is what he was hoping to hear. How's your marriage going? Depends on who's asking.
It's done. Now it's over.
Right. What do you mean? That's what that means.
I called Diana by mistake at like 12:30 one night.
I'm
She
like-
thought I was making a booty call.
Right?
I swear to God.
I see you the next day. I go, Stu.
Can't do that.
We're not doing that.
Yeah,
We're not
do
doing You can't be calling me
Because
like
that's
that.
me.
But,
Yes.
I know, but here's the thing. You would think I'd go, Stu's calling me late. Maybe something's wrong. No, I looked at him. I was like,
I was thinking about this. Yeah.
Yo, you can't. I used to work with
Everything okay?
I remember being like, did I tell him where my hotel was? I hope I didn't.
No, I used to work with somebody who had that habit of calling at any hour. And I'm like, look, man, it ain't get me in trouble, but I know some other people that'd be like, hey, you got to chill.
So I got this kind of nickname with my friends. I call it PPT. It's Parcells Power Text. So if you give the great Bill Parcells a call and he takes time out of his day to talk to you, it's an honor. And he's been so helpful in my career. But if Bill calls you, you better answer, because he is gonna blow your phone up. So he's that booty call that is relentless. And I once was on TV and I had like 6 missed calls, and I'm like, oh my God, Bill Parcells,
Parcells?
He must be sick. So I'm like, Coach, are you all right? He's like, yeah. Why didn't you pick up? I'm like, put your TV on. I'm not
man.
You don't care, man.
I'm working.
That's an old people thing. Like,
Yes.
That is an old people
I had to
thing.
tell my
We
mom,
know.
like,
Yeah.
hey, we can't do this back.
You know.
Yeah, but this back-to-back call thing.
Right.
You're too old to do that because worst case scenario is on the board.
Right.
It is in my parents are in their 80s. Oh, wow, we did a switch out.
Now Sarah Spain's here.
No, I'm still Billy Gill.
Yeah, no. Worst case scenario is on the table when your
A
parents are
better
in their
looking
80s.
Billy Gill.
That's very nice. I don't know about that. Billy's striking.
What's going on?
Is he really?
Well, you got party voice of Friday of Super Week and just hanging on by a thread. How about you guys?
You know,
Same.
something similar.
Same.
It's no Gronk boat. I'm doing better than that day.
Oh, you did do the Gronk boat.
That was awesome.
That was one of the
legendary.
strongest interviews I've ever done. You could hear about one of every 8 words I tried to say.
I've got Gronk today. It's the first time
Really?
I've ever. Well, it's the first time
Really?
I've interviewed him
Wow.
since he hasn't been playing.
Now that he's a hardcore analyst.
Yes.
Is he still going to be wearing? I saw him and Drew Brees is over there wearing
I got
them,
Drew too
them
today.
bounty paper towel jackets.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, you got to feel a little bit ridiculous, right? Aren't you rich enough?
I was going to say if I got paid enough, I would feel great.
I would want to see Rob.
We all would.
I'll wear whatever.
But if Gronk's doing bounty, don't go with the green theme. Get him in the Al the Tool Man shirt, like
Right.
the bounty paper towel man. Like,
Not the jacket.
take it all the way.
I have Sean Stellato, the agent for Tommy DeVito. He's texting me like I have influence over the people at Bounty. He wants one of the jackets. He keeps asking
Yo,
me.
I saw Spy versus Spy. Like,
So odd.
That tells you the type of agent he is.
no, that's like the Spy versus Spy dude, right?
Yeah.
Like I saw him over there. I'm like, we're still doing this?
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, I was listening to
interviewing
Amina podcast from Radio Row, and she's like, who's that? In the middle of her question, she's like, oh, Tommy DeVito's agent. It was like she couldn't focus on continuing to talk, because whatever you wore.
Couldn't believe. I mean, he wore the same thing he wear all the time.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I did not know.
Guess
we were
what?
still
You
doing
know who
this.
he is.
I don't
Sure,
know
it's
his
good
name.
And now-
You
good
do know.
branding.
She's
Now he's
right.
trying to pull a Stu on Stu.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever he's doing.
Bounty jacket.
Otherwise, why would I know Tommy DeVito's agent or expect him to demand anything from
Has
Stu?
it gotten him a client? Because I'm not getting a dude wearing that Dick Tracy hat that's repping me.
Bo, you know me so well. How do you think I responded to Stellato's request for a jacket?
I'll see
Yeah, I
what
got
can
you.
do.
I got you.
I got you.
Yeah,
My guy.
it was something in that. It was
So
something.
I'll get back to you. I'll keep you posted.
I'll say this though. Anytime
Why
you
does
said
he
you would
want
get me,
that,
you got
though?
me.
I
Is
don't
he
know
going to
why.
the Masters?
I have no idea.
Because all the
'Cause he's
people he's
Stellato.
seen wearing
Right.
it have been
Yes.
DJ Moore,
Right.
Roma Dunze,
Yes.
Drew
Big
Brees.
time
Let me be
guys.
part of the.
But
It's like
he
people
realizes-
maybe they want that Duncan sweatsuit. It's just me,
Right.
Affleck, and
Yes.
Or he gives it to Tommy DeVito and he tells everybody else in a rather Gottsian move that I got
Ooh.
Tommy DeVito
a bounty deal.
So it's funny you say that. A friend of mine suggested
thinking.
that we do that.
Yes.
So let's say I take a picture of this water bottle, right? Post it, and then say thanks Aquafina, so everyone thinks that Aquafina is my sponsor.
Right.
It's like a way you're being proactive about it. So then they say, oh, she must like our product. So maybe that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be proactive with the bounty.
I need to start doing that. It worked for Mike Gundy.
You should
he
start
got
doing
on
this.
TV
Yes.
and talked about that one Crazy People news channel, and then they
Yes.
started sending them shirts.
This is what
I
the
do a
young-
lot more
this is what the young
Stugotzian
people are
where
doing
it's
now,
not
Bo.
setting up the sponsors. I just post about things I like until they send me stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way to
Travis
do it.
Matthews. All right, I love all three of you. I have to get out of here.